Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Central Hudson reminds you, when you're doing yard work, safety matters. If you use a ladder, be aware of overhead electric lines, including the service wire that runs to your house. Even wooden ladders can conduct electricity with dangerous results. And be very careful if there are electric lines above or near a swimming pool, and you're working with skimmers, brooms, or other long-handled tools. Central Hudson wishes you a safe summer.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Jackie Levezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support the Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Dan Gruner.
And Fran DePetrillo Savona. I haven't seen Dan in a long time. It's nice to see you.
Yes, I was thinking about
I
that.
didn't even know if you guys knew each other, so I'm glad that you do.
Welcome to Kingston. We know each other.
Come on, Larry. Last time I was on, you said I know everybody.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I just didn't know if you knew Fran or not because I didn't know her until she started working here. So, you know.
Fran and
it's
I
a small city, but sometimes it's not that small.
True.
Fran and I served on the Benedictine Health Foundation board for many years and knew each other long before that. So thank you for joining me, Fran, because for a while it looked like I was going to be flying solo on this.
Yourself? Yeah. So what's happening? Where are you these days? What are you doing?
So it's been an interesting year. We sold our company last August.
I didn't know this.
Which was a Rose and Kiernan. We became part of NFP, which is based out of Manhattan, a much larger insurance firm with national and international capabilities. And selling a company during COVID was certainly a very interesting experience, but thankful it happened. And I'm excited for what it gives me a lot of clarity long term in terms of where our company's going and the direction we're headed. So.
That makes a lot of sense. What's NFP stand for?
Originally stood for National Financial Planning, and as they broadened their horizon into other lines of insurance, they consolidated just to NFP.
NFP, just NFP. And you're still in the same location?
Yeah, still at the old chamber spot on Albany Avenue, and actually new signs go up next month. I just learned yesterday. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, and we were an employee-owned company, so my biggest fear was we were going to sell to some publicly traded company and I become a number on the wall. But NFP is privately held. People first is their tagline, and they walk the walk. So it's been a great experience so far.
Oh, that's very interesting, especially in a community that's so locally focused. So if it's employee owned, it still has that local feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
How have you been?
Good. All is good. And how's Aiden?
He is well. He's 13.
I was wondering. 13.
Yeah, he's become a...
So I have known Dan a long time because I knew Dan pre-Aiden. So.
Yes, yeah. He's embarking on his first true travel lacrosse team this summer. So
that's exciting.
We're headed to Watertown, New York tomorrow for a tournament.
Okay.
The 18-12 tournament, which is largest tournament in New York State, and there's going to be 101 teams there.
Wow. Is a one-day tournament or?
It's 2 days. He
Okay.
plays 4 games Saturday. The likelihood that we qualify for Sunday is low, but should be a good experience. Been fun. It's playing with a group of kids that between Kingston and Saugerties have been playing together since 4th grade. So great families, a lot of camaraderie. It's lacrosse is one component of what should be a fun weekend.
Great. Well, good luck to them.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
hope
you.
they qualify. And so I haven't been on the Benedictine Health Foundation board for quite some time. And so I'm not connected because I used to, through that, volunteer for Bike for Cancer. So tell me about Bike for Cancer. What's happening with that?
Yeah, we are back. We're gonna be
very good.
We're going to be live September 26th.
Live September 26th. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I can tell you, last year we had to make a lot of difficult decisions, and we have to make those decisions in May from planning standpoint, and we decided to pivot and go virtual, and we were completely blown away. We raised over $87,000 through a virtual event, which was critical and really why we chose to do it, because the demand for our requests for the Gruner Fund were going through the roof at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And we've always maintained the mission to help everybody that comes to us. And that funding from last year, allowed us to continue that mission. So,
And on an average year, what would you normally raise, roughly?
between 120 and 140,000.
So that's amazing during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
what's interesting is we didn't have the expense of putting on a live event.
Oh, so there you go.
So our net number wasn't far off.
That's great.
I actually joked with my brother. I said, maybe we should go virtual.
Virtual.
But, the camaraderie of the live event, you can't replace that.
Right.
And the volunteers. So, we've talked a lot about, coming out of the pandemic, what do we do from a recognition standpoint? And we're actually going to honor all the volunteers this year.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
You've been there. It takes, and now that we've added the 5K,
Takes an army.
it literally takes an army of about 150 people. Some that come at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. So,
Right. So for anybody listening that maybe doesn't know the details of what we're talking about, can you give us a little more background?
Sure.
And bring us forward, because it has grown and morphed into this amazing thing over the years from where you started. So yeah, give us some details.
yeah, so if anyone's not familiar, 17 years ago, we lost our mom, almost 18 years ago, to cancer. And our family was really touched by the community support. We decided we wanted to give back. We partnered with the Benedictine Health Foundation and founded the Rosemary D. Gruner Memorial Cancer Fund. And when we started, it was really, the tagline was and still is, a helping hand to cancer patients and their families. And when we started, we were doing a little bit of everything, buying people air conditioners and, helping out with expenses. And we quickly realized how big the need was. And so about a year later, we formalized the process and started a gift card program to Hannaford for groceries, Stewart's for gas, and we created the Bike for Cancer Care to be the funding vehicle for it. My dad said to us, he kind of let us, figure this all out. And the one thing he said was, go in people's pockets once a year. And we all sat there and kind of said, well, what's he mean? And he said, go big or don't go at all, meaning do one fundraiser, go all in on it. And that's what we did. And it was a leap of faith. First year, we raised $44,000. And I think what has made us successful is people understand what we do, who we help, and how we help. And it's all right here in the community.
Exactly. Right. And a lot of people, they hear names of events and fundraisers, and this all stays local right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, last year we put out a bunch of ideas, and we had done some videos about 6 or 7 years ago. And 2 years ago, I handed over the reins to my brother AJ I chaired it for 15 years and kind of needed a break for a number of reasons. And so we were talking about different things, and it always stuck in my mind. I think video is a very powerful way to raise money. And so being we had more time on our hands, we hired a friend of mine's son who had just graduated from Pace University with a degree in video production. And we did a full video series comprised of sponsors, volunteers, participants, and we were fortunate enough to get 2 recipients to appear in the videos. And those tell the story better than I ever could. These are 2 people that are truly who we help and how we help them. And we used that video campaign last summer because our family was torn about asking for money during a pandemic and the challenges everybody was going through. So we let the videos speak for themselves. And we had some great longtime sponsors step forward, participants and volunteers, Ken and Anna Brett, who every time I turn around, they're asking what they can do to help. And, just so many great people, Pat Zell from Kingston Physical Therapy. And, we let the videos do the campaign for us. And I think that was a big part of why we were able to raise the money we did last year.
Can you say who did the video?
Yeah. Charlie. It's on our website, bikeforcancer.org. And actually, if you're on our email list, you just received an email 2 days ago with the videos as well.
Cool. And that was my other question, was the website for anybody who's not familiar. So that's great.
Yeah, and registration will open. We're hoping it should launch early next week. I was finalizing something, which I did last night, which I'm super excited to say that we're going to be honoring. We launched a 5K a few years ago to expand beyond cycling. And one of our biggest supporters of the foundation, of the 5K, and just everything the Gruner Fund does was Tommy Keegan. And so we'll be honoring him. He'll be the 5K honoree this year.
Very nice. Yes, big supporter in Keegan Army. A lot
Keegan
of his
Army
folks volunteered, right? Yeah.
It's interesting. They started as a running club, and now they're a running and biking club. So they kind of did the opposite of what we did. But a great group of people. And, Tommy, I met Tommy through Aussie Biker. Not long after.
Another big loss to our community this year. Yes.
Yeah. And I met Tommy probably within a month of moving back here. And we became very close friends. And then when we started Sample, Sip, and Savor, which is another foundation event, which will be coming back this year too, Tommy, with the help of Paul Biker, was the second person I spoke to about it. The first was Steve Savona, and Steve said he was in. And Steve told me to tell any other restaurant that I talked to that he was in. And then we talked to Tommy, and Tommy's famous line to me was always, "Whatever you need, brother." And it was as simple as that. So, a tremendous loss to our community, a dear friend, and, just really, it's our honor to recognize, because so many of the things he did quietly.
Exactly. That's true. Very true.
I could probably talk for 2 hours about the things that I went to him on over the years, and he did. And
right, because you're involved in many, many things other than your foundation.
Yeah,
right.
just, and I always, could walk in after work, and he'd say, "Hey, brother, can I buy you a beer?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to buy one myself." And he'd always, that's just who he was. He was a genuine human being.
Yep, it's a big loss to the community, and I misspoke when I said we lost Ozzy this year. I think it was 2020 technically, although this year seems like a big blur from last year. So did we have a last year?
As a friend of mine said, we're going to pretend last year didn't happen, so I turned 45, not 46 in March.
Very nice. Very nice. And you came back to the area about 18 years ago, right? Just as you were starting.
I was in Boston. I was kind of, at a crossroads. I was working for a big Fortune 500 company and starting to think that wasn't what I wanted in life. And, losing my mom accelerated that. I decided I wanted to come back and be with my family. And, I love to ski and bike, and, driving 3 hours to do that stuff was getting old. So,
So you're back and here to stay.
I'm back and here to stay, and that's a lot about me. So you are equally involved in the community.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this pandemic has gotten me out of touch with things.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to get your perspective. I was glad to read last night. Our county executive, Pat Ryan, is taking on Westchester Medical, and they're abandoning of mental health in our community, which is more critical than ever. So, Pat, I commend you. I support you. And, Fran, I'd just be interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm not completely up to pace, but I see what's going on. I follow what's going on. But it's unimaginable to me because straight out of school, I started working for the Mental Health Association. So from the early 90s, that's been just a no-brainer for me, the need in any community. And so I just can't comprehend what's really happening for it not to exist in our community.
For anyone not aware, the Westchester Medical withdrew their mental health beds at Mary's Avenue last year, claiming that it was going to be due to a surge in COVID that thankfully didn't happen. And now they've applied to the state to permanently withdraw those. How any organization thinks that any community doesn't need mental health services is beyond me. And it's encouraging to see both local and state politicians step up to the plate and take this on, because, we've all struggled.
Right.
I don't sit in my house for more than 10 minutes, and I was forced to do that this year.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy always.
Yeah, no, wasn't, yeah. We, like other communities, there's a mental health issue in every community. So to think that we didn't have one even before the pandemic, isn't true. And so to think we wouldn't have one during and after the pandemic, I'm just not so sure. So yes, kudos to Pat Ryan for standing up for that. And we will have to see where that goes. And if I'm not mistaken, we have an opioid epidemic here in our community, unfortunately. And, that often goes hand in hand with mental health issues. So how he's supposed to fight in our community, is supposed to fight that issue and not have mental health beds, I'm just not clear.
Yeah, and I was just having a conversation with someone recently that Westchester Medical has absolutely zero roots in this community. And I probably, more than with a handful of other people, 10 years ago was more involved with the hospitals than anybody in the community. Mm-hmm. I do not know a single person from Westchester Medical. Mm-hmm. I was joking because it was actually former employee of Health Alliance, and we were having a very spirited conversation. And I said, geez, it's kind of funny. Our family and our foundation has raised more than $1.5 million in Kingston, New York, mm-hmm. which I think is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even spoken to somebody from Westchester Medical. And I don't say it needs to be me, but they haven't engaged any of us. Mm-hmm. And it truly is just, it baffles me. And it saddens me, too, because what you just said, the opioid crisis, it's everywhere.
Yeah. And whether people
beyond the
want to think
opioid
it or
crisis.
not, right, they go hand in hand, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just... So, Pat, keep up the good work. Keep fighting the fight. Mm-hmm. And it's...
He just made it through the COVID fight, although a little increase in the numbers, unfortunately, in our community on that front, from what I hear. But
I looked yesterday. It was still under 10 in Ulster County.
Oh, okay, good.
Which is, what's there, 180,000
People, yeah.
I think it's probably closer to 200,000 now.
True. We had some, we'll have to have some residential real estate people come in and talk with us. Because, I think we have a few more people in our community now, and come along.
Yeah, it was interesting. I kind of thought that the real estate was going to slow down, and I was picking up food at the Armadillo last night, and I got talking to the woman that lives a couple doors down, and it's still on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Little inventory, and things are still moving at a good price. So, but to some, the price, we see it as a price increase, but to some, it's not that much. So, we're here. Join us.
Yeah, well, I live on Main Street uptown, and
the coveted spot.
Yeah, I'm teetering on. I just heard one on Emerson sold for $550, and I'm starting to really question what I'm doing. But where am I going?
Where are you going to go?
You sell your house, and then where are you going to move to?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, if I got $550, probably my father's basement.
If you wanted a nicer house, you're probably going to have to pay double for that.
Hasn't broken it to his dad yet.
I know somebody that sold his house on DeWitt Mills Road. He paid $180 for it. He sold it at the beginning of this month for $500. He's moving to Florida, but his house is not worth $500,000. You know what I mean?
No.
He sold it for a hefty price. Plus, you got to pay capital gains tax on that.
Yep.
You're better off staying where you're at.
No, I know. I joke with my.
Because you live in a good neighborhood. Main Street is nice.
It is. It's great.
It's awfully tempting, isn't it?
It's great location, but then when you hear $550 around the corner, I go.
Right.
But I don't. I try to keep things simple. I don't want to pay an exorbitant amount in taxes and.
Right. I'm sure everything right now is just perfect, right, or good enough.
Things are good.
Yeah, because you can't put a price tag on living in a good neighborhood. So
no, and it's my son's friends are all in the neighborhood, and they can go out, during the day and do whatever they're up to these days, and
home.
Come back. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Gosh, 13 years a home for Aiden.
I know. It's hard to believe I bought that house 17 years ago. I will never buy a 110-year-old house again.
Oh. It comes with those.
I just finished the last project was the bathrooms, and I just did them.
Wow, good for you.
It was, it was.
So then you look at it as, okay, I just got done putting all this into it. I want to enjoy it, but at the same time, you're like, but now I'm really sale ready.
Exactly.
So it's still a double-edged. What do I do?
And much more debt-ridden than I was before that.
This is true. Well, hopefully you got in at a good price 17 years ago. I'm not sure where the market was then.
It was interesting. I bought it at asking price, which was $169,000. And I bought it. I looked at it. There was an offer in on it. I happen to know the realtor, Jack Finch.
Oh.
And I looked at it on Thursday. Friday, I'm sitting at a bar in Burlington, Vermont, waiting for my college buddies to come. And it's about 4 o'clock on Friday, and Jack Finch calls me that the offer fell through.
Ugh.
And I just loved the location. The house was in terrible shape. Mm-hmm. So I said, all right, Jack, I'm trying to buy time. So, well, can I do a walkthrough again? He says, Dan, I got 3 other people that want to see it. I said, all right, put in an offer at $169. I hadn't even met with the bank yet. Mm-hmm. So, did some fast tracking, got everything together, and I remember I was talking to my older sister, Ellen, the following week. She's like, all right, so you told me a week ago you were thinking about buying a house. Dad just told me he bought a house. I said, well, yeah, that's kind of how I work. Because I wanted the location.
Yeah,
that was really, it was probably a very poor buy from the amount of work I've had to do to it, but, you know.
But if the houses around you are selling at these prices now, I mean, it really can't drop that much. So you're still in a good spot. It's still a great place to stay.
It's intriguing that the primary interest is ability to walk uptown, which, people coming up from the city in Brooklyn, the farmers market's here. I'll live here. They have a tremendous amount of money. They pay.
They're this close to the thruway or the bus station if they need to go back to the city or wherever.
Yeah.
And they can just walk to restaurants, walk to the farmer's market. And so, you're in a prime location. Hang on to it, Dan.
I'm going to. I'm gonna ride it out.
So it's 7:24, and we have some guests coming on. So at 7:30, we have John, and I can never pronounce his name. Lawrence,
Larry's not there. He's not helping you out.
I was on the phone. John Maserjian from Central Hudson.
Maserjian from Central
And
Hudson.
then you guys know the last two. Who's the 8 o'clock guest?
8 o'clock is Mo Gibbons from Puroclean. So that's always interesting. Mo was one of my first guests when we switched to this station. I think we were here. Yes, we were. And so feels like this is home too, huh? It's been how long that you've been on Lucas Avenue?
But say that again. I'm sorry.
How long have you been located here now?
Oh, March 27th, 2020 is when we first went on the air.
Oh, from here?
Yeah, we got right in here right before COVID got crazy.
Very cool.
And, it took us...
good thing that happened.
From when we signed the lease, which was like the end of January till the day we moved, we did the last show up there on Friday, and then we're not on the air on Saturday and Sunday, and we got everything ready to go by Monday morning.
Oh, very good. So it's been home for over a year.
If we would have waited 2 more weeks, we'd still be up there because of COVID.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that it all worked out because I think that place is still empty up there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a great
I know
home.
the roof was leaking really bad, so we had to go.
And so with last night's storm, you wouldn't want a
I'm
roof
sure
that's
John's going to
leaking.
want to talk about that in a few minutes.
We're hoping he's available to call in and not out.
I thought I got here early this morning because I thought they were going to come. I thought the power was going to be out. I mean, I was sleeping at 12:45, like longest sleep. I went to bed last night at like 10:30. I was tired. And I woke up to this thunder and lightning and the water hitting the window. And
it was incredible.
And then walking to work this morning, there was about 6 limbs down in Old Dutch Church.
Yep.
It was definitely pretty
Yeah,
violent.
there's my neighbor there. I mean, I don't know if he was up yet, but he had a huge limb down.
Yeah. I mean, the sound of the thunder and lightning was just... It was like it was hovering right over uptown Kingston.
That's exact. I mean,
it was so bright. I was like, oh my God.
I was wondering if it was in my backyard.
Yeah.
I know it was really loud. I mean, I that's like what it was like in Florida when I lived down there.
Yeah, it was rough in the Sopus too. So it must have been.
But that was scary though. I mean, to wake up to it, like, what the hell is that noise? And then you're like, oh my God, it's rain.
To the west of us, like Wayne County, there were all kinds of warnings all night on the TV, and then we got that storm. So I thought, what are they getting if we're getting this? Because our yard is a disaster this morning, and all along Abeale Street there were trees down, limbs all over. It was, It reminded me of Hurricane Irene.
From looking at the weather right now, it looks like it's going to start raining raining hard again. Not too hard, but around.
Yeah, our deck chairs were flipped up all over the place.
We're getting another storm today?
No, but we're getting. It was 91% chance of rain all day. Around 2 to 3 o'clock, it's going to start raining, and it's not going to stop until tomorrow morning. It looks like.
Well, this time, I hope to be a little more prepared.
We're 11 inches below the water table, so we need the water. I mean, and these 90-degree days that we've been getting, we usually get this at the end of July, beginning of August. We were getting them in June, already. So, I mean, I was down in North Carolina over the weekend. It was 80, it was in the 80s down there. I was like, God, this is like cooler than Kingston was. Because, we were getting some hot days last week. So,
at the beginning of the week. With all this moisture and, like, the fluctuation in temperature, like, I have a lot of allergy issues. Oh. And it's like, I mean, right now even I'm like,
Yeah, I get mine really bad in the spring with the pollen, but...
I do, too. I generally don't have problems this time.
Where it's like where I can't breathe, man. Like, it's pretty bad.
Yep.
So, you guys want to go to break now, and then we'll come back with John?
Sure. 7:30 is John Maserjian. 8 o'clock is Mo Gibbons from Puroclean. And 8:30, we didn't mention, we have Christine Hein coming in from People's Place. So we're looking forward to it.
Cool. We'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Swimming pools are great for family fun, and Central Hudson wants you to play it safe. Never operate an electric appliance next to or in the pool. Be sure pool motors and filters are grounded. Have them installed by a professional and serviced by a licensed professional electrician. Be very careful if there are electric lines above or near a pool, especially if using long-handled cleaning tools. And if a storm is nearby, get out of the water. Your safety matters.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org, produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
Okay, we're back. It's 7:30. Our normal guest for this, what is it? This is the second Thursday of the month, is John Maserjian from Central Hudson. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
We're doing good. I know you're used to talking to Tony and Val, but they're actually both out today. So our host today is Dan Gruner and Fran DePetrillo.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Fran. How are you both?
Good morning, John. We're excited to talk to you this morning.
Hey, John, how are you? We'll jump right in. If we're just talking about the storms in Kingston last night were really, really intense, and followed by 2 nights ago, sounded like Dutchess County was hit much harder than we were 2 nights ago. So could you give everybody an update?
Sure, but I'll tell you, this week has been like living in the tropics with these near daily thunderstorms that have been coming through. And the storms have been quite intense. On Tuesday night, we saw a storm come through, and it knocked out power to, at its peak, about 30,000 of our customers, primarily in central Dutchess County. I'll tell you, Hyde Park and Pleasant Valley area really got clobbered. The damage was so widespread. And then Wednesday afternoon, another cell came through, this time to the northern part of our service area. And it seems like some sort of a severe wind event reached the village of Coxsackie. The damage there was just incredible. It interrupted power to about 2,500 of our customers in the village and town of Coxsackie, but also parts of New Baltimore and Westerlo, other areas in the northern part of our service area. And that storm system continued into Massachusetts and wreaked havoc there as well. And then, of course, there was last night. and Ulster County got the brunt of that storm, and I know you've seen the results of that in the city of Kingston, but other areas within Ulster County were also affected. Let's see, I can tell you about 4,000 outages currently remaining in Ulster County. The town of Marbletown was particularly hard hit, the town of Olive, of course the city of Kingston, the town of Esopus. So it was a pretty widespread storm. We could see the lightning show from Poughkeepsie from last night's storm. That was like having the 4th of July all over again.
It was definitely a show,
really,
John.
Yeah, it was really crazy. So we have our full complement of crews continuing to work, I should say, today, including contractors that we've been using for other work. They've remained in to help us out, about 50 linemen from our contractor companies. And about 174 tree workers are working today, in addition to about 100 Central Hudson line crews. Plus, we have crews that are here from Canada, of all places. Crews from Montreal made it here about 2 a.m., and they'll be assisting in the restoration efforts today. And in addition, later on today, we expect crews coming in from the Ohio area. And they're here. We brought them in case we saw any continued damage from Tropical Storm Elsa as it makes its way up the East Coast. So we will likely see some more thunderstorm activity this afternoon, and then perhaps this evening and into Friday there could be some remnants from Elsa, which is not expected to bring as high winds, more rain than windy conditions. But you never know. The weather systems has been so unstable lately that we really don't want to leave it up to chance. We just see continued storms, today and through Friday.
John,
and
could
hopefully
you talk?
a quiet Saturday.
Yeah, would certainly welcome that. I'm always so impressed with the immediate response of Central Hudson. You just shed some light on bringing in contractors from different areas. How does that all come together?
Well, there's an organization called NAMAG, N-A-M-A-G, which stands for the North Atlantic Mutual Aid Group. And this is a group of utility companies in the North Atlantic part of the states, so our northeastern states, including parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, up through New England. And the group is made up of utility companies, contractor companies. These are companies that contract out utility-grade line personnel for different types of work, electrical work. And we get together and talk about our needs. Each company would indicate what they think they may need in terms of additional assistance from outside the area and outside their area, I should say. And then the other companies can indicate what sort of crews they have available that they can offer. And then the host utilities, of course, pay to have these crews come into their area and work alongside their own crews. And when we bring in crews from outside our area, we always assign a Central Hudson employee, someone who's experienced to accompany those crews as they move through the area and make repairs. And it's all very, very highly coordinated, so that everyone knows where everyone is and what they're doing. It's a dangerous job, and also there are some hazards associated with one crew down the road bringing up a line while another crew is working on perhaps the same line, in a different area. So there has to be a high degree of coordination as to when power is restored and how that's done, in light of the fact that we have multiple crews working, perhaps in the same area.
It's always very well just the response time is incredible, and it's great to hear that there's, various companies banding together. I mean, I remember, during Irene, we were without power for almost 5 days, and it was a multitude of transformers blowing and things. And then I live right over by Terry's Deli in Uptown Kingston, and the morning we saw just the army of trucks pull up, and everybody stood there, and it was incredible. And
it's always a good feeling to see anyone to the rescue, whether it's utility crews or the fire department or the police department, whoever comes to the rescue. It's always very satisfying to see their arrival. And I know depending on the storm and the extent of the outages, it could take a few days to get power back on. And our goal is to restore power within 3 days, no matter what. But it doesn't always work out that way. It just depends on the extent of damage and what sort of resources are available from outside the area. With a storm like this, it's fairly isolated, so crews are available to come in from outside the area. When you have widespread storms like a hurricane impact or a tropical storm impact, that could affect a much broader region, and crew availability from the immediate area may not exist because utility companies or contractors are focusing on their home turf, so to speak. Just like we would be reluctant to give up our own crews to help a neighboring utility if we're impacted by a storm, a major storm. The same is true the other way around. So just depending on the circumstances, the extent of the storm, crew availability may or may not be available. Fortunately, in this case, it was available to us.
How far do people travel? Other companies, I know you mentioned Ohio, Pennsylvania, Canada, that's right. And Fran's a better listener than I am.
We've had crews come in past storms from as far away as Florida, Texas.
Wow.
Of course, from New England, and sometimes we're lucky enough to have some of our neighboring utilities offer their crews, say from Niagara National Grid or New York State Electric and Gas, Orange and Rockland utilities, if the impact of their area allows them to spare crews. But that's not always the case. So that's why there's a regional group that looks at crew availability, and there's also a national group, believe it or not. So depending on the impact of a major storm, we may be pulling from other parts of the country. During Hurricane Sandy, the governor made arrangements to have crews fly in from California, of all places. So it is possible to pull crews in. It takes time for them to get here, and it's worthwhile if we anticipate that restoration will take place over the course of a week. And unfortunately, that's always a possibility depending on the severity of the storm. But for something like this, we're local. We're happen to already be working on the previous day's storms, so crews are already mobilized, and we can get to the damage pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So let's see. In city of Kingston right now, there are about almost 700 outages reported. And we're working on getting an estimated restoration time. We think it will probably be most of our customers should have their power restored by today, but there are actually more than 200 individual damaged locations. So I fully expect we'll be working into Friday, and depending on what the weather brings tonight, we may see additional outages. We were down to about, out of the 30,000 impacted from Tuesday's storm, we were down to about 2,000 left last night, and then the storm came through Greene County, through Coxsackie. That added another $2,500 outages on top of that. And then, of course, last night's storm came through, and so now we're back up to about 7,000 outages system-wide with more than 200 individual damage locations.
When you look at the Kingston grid, are you able to see, where in Kingston those outages are?
I will look. Yes, I can look. We have an outage.
I was surprised to have wake up with power.
Hudson.com. Yeah. So it shows. I see a lot of the outages. Well, there's one outage affecting about 300, which is most of it, and near the intersection of Albany Avenue and Route 32, where that comes together. And then there are quite a few scattered outages in the Midtown area, along Broadway.
Got it. Thanks.
And then down by the Rondout Creek. So it's messy.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, John, the response is always, of course, I'm sure there's people that would disagree, but the response time is always amazing. The other component, which many people may not know about, is I'm fortunate to have some good friends that work for you guys, is the way you take care of your people. It's more than a job.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes, yes. I was joking. One of my friends works in your finance department. He started within the last 2 years, I think. And I was texting him after one of the bad storms last summer, and I said, "Don't forget your hard hat." And that was because he had said to me how all hands on deck, right, on a day like today.
Right. Yes. So not only do we have our line crews and tree contractors working, but we have a contingent of employees who serve in various support roles. Of course, those are on the phone working directly with customers. That's what they normally do. But as you said, folks in the accounting or financial part of the company may be distributing dry ice and bottled water. They could be delivering meals to our crews in the field. They could be doing damage assessment, getting out, ahead of the crews to find out where the damage is and reporting back. They might be guarding down lines or down wires. All these are critical functions as part of our storm plan to expedite repairs and keep the public safe. The meals program is actually great. We've found that, of course, our field crews have to eat, and breaking down and finding a restaurant or getting a sandwich from a deli takes a lot of time. So we have a group of employees who secure food, meals, often sandwiches, soup, coffee, and find and deliver those meals directly to the crews in the field. So they'll drive out to wherever the crews are. The crews will stop working, eat their meal, and then get right back to work. So instead of, being down for an hour and a half, they're down for 20 minutes, and then they're right back to work. Mm-hmm. And this has really helped with the efficiency of repairing lines and getting the power back on. And it also builds camaraderie, between all employees within our organization, because we're all working together for a common purpose. It's not something we want to do because we know it's a huge inconvenience and even a hazard to our customers, but it's a great way to address an emergency by working together. And then we have also, workers who coordinate directly with the municipalities, counties, and emergency responders. And I'll tell you, we cannot repair lines and restore service without the work that the municipal partners do. The highway departments, the police departments, law enforcement, the county public works departments, they all play a huge role in helping to clear streets and communicate with the public and trying to restore a sense of order during an emergency like this. It just cannot be done without them. So we're indebted to the work of the public sector because they play a key role in restoring power, opening roads, providing shelters, and other sorts of services for folks who are impacted. Excuse me. So it does take a village, as I say, and we're very fortunate here in the Hudson Valley that we have such a sense of cooperative spirit, amongst our communities.
For our listeners that are just tuning in, we're speaking with John Maserjian from Central Hudson, and it's been quite interesting, especially after last night's storm.
Yeah, it's certainly it's certainly keeping us on our toes. We're I'm just refreshing our outage map here to see if we can get some more information about restoration times, but that's still being developed. But it does look like, though, that most of the power outages should be addressed today. There'll be probably some carryover into Friday, but again, the weather's still unstable, and we may see additional storms.
You people have to be pretty tired by now.
Yes. Yeah. It is exhausting work for sure, especially in the heat. But we're going to get a break in the weather today, thankfully. So it'll be a lot cooler. It'll just be into the 70s instead of that hot, humid weather, which is good because not only does it give the workers a break, but it also reduces the potential for severe storms. And I think by now the entire Hudson Valley region is a little tired of seeing this crazy weather pattern that we've been experiencing.
Yeah, we're due for some good weather at some point.
Yeah, and this weekend looks like it's going to be pretty good. Maybe the chance for some more thunderstorms next week, but we'll see if that'll be as severe as what we've seen. The temperatures next week are forecasted to be in the 80s, which is more seasonable, and what we normally expect for this time of year. So, without that hot, heavy air mass, there's less energy to produce these strong storms. So, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Better times to come.
I feel like we were hearing some thunder as we're sitting here, actually.
I was just wondering that, actually.
So, any tips for our listeners or any way in which the community can help or...
Well, in terms of tips, safety is a big one, and with these storms and down trees also comes down power lines. So we please urge the public to stay at least 30 feet away from any down line. Assume any down line is live, and we do have what we call wire guards or employees and even contractors who stand by the down lines until utility crews can come and make repairs. Often the area may be coned off. There could be a detour. So please respect the detours. Please respect the cones and what the wire guard may instruct motorists to do. It can be extremely dangerous and a terrible situation if someone were to make contact with these lines. And there may be cases where you might see a down line within your own neighborhood, and there may not be a wire guard there yet. So please instruct your neighbors to stay away from the lines. People like to go out and take a walk, but heed these down lines and give it a wide berth because you never know what might happen.
Right.
Even if the line might be a telephone line, it could still become energized if a live electric line should drape over it. So it's just always best to play it safe.
And 30 feet, and it's more distance than I was thinking. Not as much as I probably would stay further, but also with all the water, the still water in the ground, I'm sure that adds a whole other component to safety.
Yes. And that's why the 30-foot rule is in place, because a down the line could energize the ground around it, and more so if the ground is wet. Other things to watch for is to stay out of standing water. If there's a puddle, there could be a line nearby that could cause the water to become energized. Just like you wouldn't want to put electric hair dryer or radio near a bathtub. Same is true for standing water. And also beware of lines that may be entangled in fallen trees. They could be hidden by the leaves. You may never see it. So just be aware that a fallen tree could also contain a electric line within it. And so be very careful about that as well. Especially when you might want to be clearing out some of those fallen trees yourself. Break out the chainsaw and let's see if we can get this out of the way. Be aware that there might be a line, within that tree too.
Right. So leave that to the professionals, right?
Right. We'll bring an electric crew over to make sure the line is de-energized so that a professional tree trimming crew can come through and clear that out. There's a methodology to all of this. And it's designed to be as efficient but also as safe as possible.
Well, we appreciate your crews being out there and doing all that they're doing, and we appreciate you coming on today and enlightening us, especially after these storm after storm after storm. So I'm sure you're quite busy, and we appreciate the time you've given us this morning. Did you have any?
Happy to be here. Absolutely happy to be here. And one of these days, I'll get into the studio, and I haven't been to the new studio yet, so I'm very anxious to see it.
It's worth the visit. It's quite an upgrade, but I'd like to echo Fran's thoughts, John. Thank you, and thank all the folks at Central Hudson for all the great work that you do.
Thank you. I will definitely pass that along, and take care. Be safe today.
Thanks,
you too.
Good luck.
All right, so let's go to break, and then when we come back, we'll do birthdays, and then we'll start with our next guest. Is that good?
Sounds good.
Okay, great.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Jim Quigley, Supervisor of the Town of Ulster, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
Rondout Savings Bank has a long history of serving local communities and maintaining a strong tradition of customer service excellence while providing each customer with the personal attention they deserve. Rondout Savings' approach to community banking puts you and the growth of your business in the front of everything they do. They're a different kind of bank and would like to tell you why, so please reach out to one of their expert business bankers for an appointment and let them show you what they can do for you. Rondout Savings Bank, always working for you and the community with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park. Also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Good morning, Dan Gruner. And
Fran DePetrillo Savona.
Welcome back. In the 8 o'clock hour, we have Mo Gibbons joining us from Puroclean, and Mo's involved in a bunch of things in the community that we'll get to. But before that, turn it over to Fran for some birthdays.
Yes. So, July 8th. How did that happen already? July 8th.
Time flies.
Right. So we'd like to please wish a happy birthday to Barbara McCormick from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers. And that's why I was delayed in saying my name, because I was like, the Hurley Pearlers. So they must be a knitting group. Don't you something in pearl?
Beyond my pay grade.
Okay.
I'll go with that with knitting. Knit one pearl too. So.
Sure.
Give us a call if I'm wrong, 331-9255. So happy birthday, Barbara McCormick, from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers. Also on July 8th, we're wishing a happy birthday to Mary Fisher from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers. So how cool is that? They are both part of the Hurley Pearlers, and they both have birthdays today. Also July 8th, please help me wish a happy milestone birthday of 85 to my young, lovely, famous artist wife, Cammie Fisher. I got that right this time, right?
Yeah, you did.
All right, because they had an anniversary recently, and I called her Cammie.
Oh, that's right. You did. That's right. You announced that one,
so
too.
I'm like, wait, this
Wow,
name.
Fran.
Yeah, so Cammie Fisher, from your husband, George, children, Carolyn, Greg Jr., their spouses, family, and many, many friends. So happy 85th birthday, Cammie. And so, I don't have my cowbell in front of me. Although I have a car full of them right now, still from my niece's graduation. But the birthday winner for Boyce Dairy Milk House, the famous cow pie, courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio, goes to Barbara McCormick. So congratulations, Barbara McCormick. You won the famous cow pie from Boyce Dairy Milk House. Enjoy that.
And two other birthdays that are not formally on your sheet there.
Who do you have?
My cousin Max Gruner on July 6th, who just recently completed his first ultra marathon.
Wow.
So happy birthday, Max. And lifelong friend Kylie Garrigan Shea is also July 6th. She's on Cape Cod. But happy birthday to both of you, and welcome, Mo.
Well, good morning. How are you guys?
Hi, Mo.
Doing well, and it's nice to see people.
I'm thrilled to be out and about. Things are starting to happen, and meetings in person and events in person, and I couldn't be more delighted. And not wearing a mask. And yes, I'm vaccinated, so just to make everybody feel comfortable.
Mo, we didn't ask you that.
I know, but
we didn't ask you to show us your card.
I don't have that with me.
I do opt to wear my mask at times, even though I am vaccinated, and I feel like I get looks of ooh, she's not vaccinated.
You get looks either way. So.
Well, I'm in and out of offices, so to speak. A lot of offices are still closed and whatnot, and I have mask in hand because I want to do what people feel comfortable with.
Exactly.
And they don't ask me, and majority of places that are open are not requiring that I wear a mask. So they're just hoping that people are vaccinated and therefore, following the rules, so to speak. But it is what it is. But like I said, I'm glad to be out and about. And I do have some exciting news that I'm bringing this morning.
What do you have?
So as you both are well aware, I am a longtime Kingston Kiwanian.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, due to COVID, we were unable to do Kapers. So we actually were out at Tech City and we did a video of past Caper clips, which was semi-well attended. I think people were still afraid. It was like a drive-in movie because we couldn't host a show. But this year, we just got the okay. We are having our show third week of April, and it's going to be back at Bailey School, and we're going to be live and in person.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. I just got the script. I probably won't read it until the week
April
of the
1st.
show. Yeah, well, it's just what it is.
Who's writing it these days?
Steve Klein
Still is.
is writing it, and of course he likes writing those parodies. I have a parody, so maybe I'll look at it 2 weeks before because I have to learn my song, which I have no idea what the song is too. I do have the words, but I looked at it and went, okay, well, now I have it. We'll move on.
So the Kapers is a staple in our community.
Mm-hmm.
But could you talk a little bit about what is the Kapers, the money it raises, what does that money do for people in our community?
So basically, we have lots of fundraisers that we try to do to raise funds, but Kapers is strictly for our scholarship fund, and we have given away every year $20,000 in $1,000 scholarships to graduating seniors. It used to be from Coleman as well as Kingston High School. But now that Coleman is closed, it's just going to be to Kingston High School. And obviously, if we raise more money, we'll be able to give out more money. We've given out over $1 million in scholarships. And this year, I can tell you that Kiwanis is going to be celebrating its 100th year anniversary for the Kingston Club, which to me is sort of unheard of. I mean, a lot of these organizations have been around for a really long time. It is an international organization, but to have our local group have 100 years is a pretty big milestone.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating that 100 years, and even though it's an international group, that local level of my father was a Kiwanian.
Yep. Oh, I know.
And I remember as a kid being at different events, and I was in the Kapers when I was 10 or 11 years old, and it was a school scene, and Howie Whitaker was the teacher.
Oh, gosh.
And he was dressed as a female.
Of course.
Jim Thompson was the producer back then.
Yep.
And completely spontaneous, Jim had he's sitting down in front, facing the stage. He brought a bunch of candy. And to cause disruption in the class, he just started throwing random bags of candy onto the stage, unbeknownst to Howie. Well, I immediately dived for one. And then kids are it was complete
chaos.
Spontaneous chaos.
I love it.
And perfect.
And here I am talking about it 35 years later.
That's funny.
It's, women weren't, we celebrated in my history with Kiwanis, and I can't tell you what year it was, 25 years of women in Kiwanis, because women, it used to be an all-male organization. One of the things that I love its mission. Its mission is changing a community one child at a time. And I really love that while it's an international organization, all the money that we raise stays local here in the community. And we actually have a vote on where it goes and who we help. And obviously we want our efforts in the money that we raise to not just affect a child, but as many children as possible. There are, through the school, through the grades, there are different levels of Kiwanis. So there's Builders Club, which I think is in junior high. There's Key Club, which is the high school.
Yep.
In college, there's Circle K. And we had just, prior to COVID, had opened up at Ulster County Community College, opened a Circle K. There's one in New Paltz, at SUNY New Paltz, and we just opened one, but it sort of didn't really get to take off the ground because everything went, everything shut down.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will, with everything opening up, that will be, and they will be involved and whatnot. But I'm excited to have Kapers back. Kapers is a really, really fun time, and it helps our organization and our members really connect once again. For those of you that have never been to a show, you absolutely have to come. It is the funniest thing you ever. We are not professional actors. We are not professional singers. And if you actually came to the show, so the shows used to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We start rehearsals the Sunday before the show. You show up Sunday night. There are people that have never opened the script until that night. And, of course, everybody's making mistakes, and you go, how can this be? My very first Kapers show, I said, this isn't going to, I had one line, and I said, this is horrible. We're going to stand up in front of an audience full of people. This can't be. Monday night, it wasn't as horrible, but it was still horrible. Tuesday night, to me, it was just as bad. And every night I'm getting more nervous and more nervous that I have to stand up on this stage. And we were doing, it was Pirates of the Caribbean was the theme, and I was one of the women of Penkaki. And I had one line to say, and I was so nervous, and then I started looking around, and people had taken their lines and they wrote them on little cards, and if you had a prop, they stuck it on the prop. So I had a purse, so I took my line, I wrote it really big, and it was something silly like, we've finally arrived. Something like, how can you not remember that? But I was so nervous, I said, I'm never going to remember this. So I stuck it on my purse. And Wednesday night was dress rehearsal, and I went, oh boy, well, the show's going on tomorrow, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And I walked out the first night with my line tagged on my purse, and it was facing the audience. And I walked out, and they all started laughing, and I have no idea why they're laughing at me. I'm going, I haven't said anything yet. And they're all laughing because they all know what my line is going to be because it's on my purse and big enough that they could read it. So, but if you come to the show, and again, we've tailored the show, it's just Friday and Saturdays now. I don't know that we're going to do a 3-day show, potentially. But if you come to the show every night the show is different. Somebody messes up here, somebody messes up there, somebody throws in a line, somebody ad-libs. And while it's the same show, and people think that our mistakes are actually part of the show, so they're busy laughing, and I'm going, oh my goodness, I recall a show I did, and I had to say something about blue diamonds, and every night at rehearsal I said black diamonds. I have no idea why. I had several lines, but that one line, I couldn't get blue diamonds out of my lips. It was always black diamonds. And Tom Tierney had written the show, and he said, you have to get that line correct. I put that line in the show for my son-in-law. He's coming tonight. You have to get, and I'm going, oh gosh, put pressure. I really don't need the pressure. So, of course, the scene comes on, and out I go, and I deliver the line, blue diamonds, perfectly, to which Tom Tierney stands up, turns around to the audience and says, she finally got it right.
Oh, that's funny.
Now, of course, they thought that was part of the show.
Oh.
I'm mortified. Everybody is laughing, and I'm going, oh my gosh, really? I finally got it right. Now you had to tell everybody I was getting it wrong. But it's a lot of fun, and it really brings a lot of the group itself that's actually putting on the show and the community that comes out for it. I have been coming to Kapers for eons prior to actually becoming a member. I'm a member now 11 years. So to say that we've been around for 100 is kind of wow.
So we have to wait 9 months for the show?
Yep.
Wasn't it traditionally in the fall?
It is. It's in October.
Oh, you said April.
Oh, I said, did
Yeah, I kind of wondered.
No, I'm sorry.
I was like, wow.
Black diamonds.
See, I don't know what day. I don't know what day it is. It's in
Okay,
It's always
October
the-
2021.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Yes, it's always
That's
the
not
third
9 months
week-
away.
No, it's always the third week of April.
No wonder she gets her lines wrong.
Third week of April. You just said.
Oh my God, get it again. April. Why am I thinking April? I have no
All right,
idea.
PSA announcement.
October.
The Kiwanis Kapers is the third week in October. That would be
Friday
the
and
third
Saturday.
week. That's in the fall,
Yep.
not in the spring.
No.
And
shame
where
on
is it
me.
happening?
At Bailey
Always
School.
at Bailey.
Bailey
Right.
School.
We were actually last year prior to being shut down, they were gonna let us do it at the high school.
Oh.
Which would have been really nice.
'cause they redid the
But
auditorium, right?
we're familiar with Bailey, so we've been having it ever since I've come on board.
Bailey it is.
Bailey it is. Bailey it is, so.
So, we were just spent some time with John from Central Hudson talking about all the storms. Last night felt like Times Square on July 4th. Give you a chance to talk for a few minutes about Puroclean and your work. And we were talking before we came on. I think people would be interested to hear about the local demand on contractors and all the activity going on in Kingston.
So, well, there's a lot going on. I work for Puroclean Professional Restoration. We are the paramedics of property damage. While we don't want anything to happen to anybody's home, business, or whatnot, we're here to help you through the process when something happens. I can tell you it's extremely stressful, and some people handle it very well, and other people do not. With these rambling storms that have been coming through, people are finding out that they have roof leaks, and we deal in water damage. And there's lots of things I can tell you. One is take a deep breath, and there is somebody out there that can help you. It is human nature to fix it yourself. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that if you don't know what you're doing, let a professional come in and help you. When my car breaks down, I take it to the garage. I am not a mechanic. I do not know how to fix things. So let somebody that knows what they're doing. And like I said, that's a lot of times people can actually create more damage by trying to do it themselves, and they do it improperly. So, and they wait. And one of the things is that waiting can be worse. Okay, so when it comes to water, there was a gentleman the other day that called. He had one of these storms that came through. He had recently had his roof, I don't know whether it was redone or repaired. Water came in. He was beside himself. He immediately called us. His attic was soaking wet, and basically we need to come in and dry it out as soon as possible. And the reason you need to dry it out is because if you leave things wet, you're going to get mold. It's just the nature of the beast. And now it's going to be worse because there are mold laws in New York State, and now it's a much larger project than it was if you just called us to dry it out. He was so upset with the roofing company. He was, I'm suing everybody. And it was like, we tried to talk to him, and he was having none of it. His insurance agent I called the insurance agent and told him what was going on, that he would not let us help him. We're there to help. And it is with insurance, as I'm sure you know, you are required, if you have a house or whatnot, you are required to stabilize and I call them events. So if you have a water loss, you're required to stabilize it. That doesn't mean you have to fix everything in one day, but before the proper people get out there, if there's adjusters that need to come out and things of that nature, you're required to stabilize it so it doesn't get worse, so that the water doesn't turn into mold. Okay? Now, sometimes that's not possible. You didn't realize there was a leak. You didn't realize something was going on. You're not necessarily somebody that goes in your attic. But with these storms, of course, going through, and I was listening to Central Hudson and talking, it's really important. If water, for example, is in your basement, depending on if you live in an older home, look where your outlets are. If they're now they have to be 12 inches, a certain height up, okay? This room, they're code. But in a lot of the older homes, they're on the floor. So if you get an inch or two of water, theoretically, your electric is compromised. All right? You don't want to be walking through, just like he was saying, you don't want to be walking around these wires that are outside. You don't want to be walking around in your home. You know, that hair dryer shouldn't be next to the bathtub. So it's the same type of thing.
Now, how do you, like, for example, I mean, this week we've been bombarded with storms, and, you know, there's quite a bit of damage just in the brief drive here this morning. How are you able to respond?
So
like during these times where it's, you know, not normal day of business.
So we're 24/7. Okay, so if you call right now or you call at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're actually going to get put through to a technician that's on call. And depending on the severity or what needs to be done, will come out right then and there.
It's like a triage system.
Yep.
So are you, like, do you contract with other contractors, or everyone's part of Puroclean?
So everybody, our employees, we do not, that's not saying that we couldn't or so hire other people, but we do all of our own work. So we do not subcontract. We are all employees. Puroclean is a franchise. However, it is independently owned. There are 3 owners, John Beaver, Sean McDermott, and Andrew Rankel. We actually have 2 locations. We have one here in Kingston, right on Washington Avenue, behind the Olympic Diner. And our other one is in Poughkeepsie at 66 Fireman's Way. So we actually have 2 offices, and we provide services to 8 counties.
Wow.
So
under your franchise, how many people are employed?
Under ours, currently about 20. There's about 20 of us. And we're just like everybody else. When you start talking about, we're all looking for employees.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that. I was like, maybe there's one sector that isn't struggling and looking for people.
Unfortunately, every sector is affected. We are, like right now, we are booked. We are booked solid. And so obviously if there's an emergency call, we're on preferred vendor lists with certain insurance companies. And if we get a call from our preferred vendor, being a preferred vendor, we have to go.
Yeah. And so you're hiring if anybody is looking for a job.
We are hiring.
Okay.
And, you know, I tell people it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that we have a really good team, and they like doing what they do.
I know, Fran, you've got to
scoot
head
to
out.
work.
So
and I've really enjoyed spending the morning with you, Dan.
Absolutely.
This has been great. And
thank you. It's great to see you.
Yes,
and
thank you. Give Christine my best. I'm sorry I'm missing her.
Thanks for not
making
me sit here and talk to myself for an hour.
Thanks for having me. And Mo, I could listen to you all day.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure to see you. I'll see you soon somewhere.
Yes, I'm sure.
The
yes.
next- the next
Be well,
Ribbon
all. Have a great day.
Thanks, Fran.
Safe travels.
So you're hiring, of course, like everyone else.
And I tell people, you know, it can be a career. It's not a job.
Sure.
And a lot of times people are looking, you know, I don't want to just get a job. What can they'll actually, you know, once you've come on board and you've shown that, you know, you show up for work and you enjoy what you're doing, they actually pay for your training. And this is training that you can take with you theoretically wherever you go.
Well, you know, and I know the owners of the local franchise, and I've known them for a long time, and they're part of this community as well as you are. And you know, I remember seeing John and Sean at chamber events, and you know, so it's nice to hear that and see when you got local people. Might be a franchise business that people may not truly understand. That it is locally owned, and you know, we started talking before we came on about the other side. I know your husband's in the construction business, and you know, the real estate market here locally just
crazy
continues to go through the roof, and contractors are in super high demand. I was lucky to just finish 2 bathrooms not too long ago that I had in the works for a long time to get done, but just be interested to hear what you're seeing on that side of the business.
So when you talk about the housing market, it's unbelievably insane, and people are doing crazy things. So they're doing things like forget about the pricing and so on and so forth. Things that I'm seeing that are coming through to us is people are waiving their home inspections.
Left and right.
Left and right. And the bottom line is then they find mold on the property. And, of course, they want it to get taken care of. There are mold laws in New York State, which we explained to them and whatnot. And they don't understand that, this isn't some mold. There's small projects and large projects. We just did an extremely large project. I felt so bad for the couple. They waived the home inspection. They had been looking for over a year and a half for a house. They found what they thought was their dream home, and woman was pregnant, and they had a horrible mold issue. Horrible. And now she's about to give birth, and you want to move in and have your house pretty and clean and whatnot, and we're taking down walls and to get to it. We're here to help. Contractors, it's just crazy. My husband's a contractor, as you said, and people call him, and he's booking next spring.
Yeah.
Well, he'll come and look at your project to see if it's something that he wants to get involved in. He physically can't touch it till next spring. And people are calling all the time, and they say, well, I've got somebody that can start on Monday. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but oh my gosh, if somebody can start on Monday, maybe they have a small opening and you got lucky, I'd be leery because everybody's busy.
Yeah.
Everybody's busy. I mean, you talk about projects, you had your bathrooms done. I needed some wallpaper taken down that I've probably been looking at for 6 years that have been driving me crazy. Wasn't installed right in the first place and started to lift. Well, I spoke to somebody at Christmas, and he said, I said, it doesn't need to be done. I've been living with it like this. But when you've got a window, it's a week job. Just call me. And he called up and he said, we'll be there on Monday. I said, okay.
Yep.
That's great.
So I got it. It's definitely a challenge, and you combine that with, fortunately, it looks like the cost of products is coming down now, but it's.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it's awful.
It's been a really, really interesting time to watch in Kingston, and I hope it's all for the good.
I do too. It'll be interesting to see, what goes. But good things are happening all around us. You said, talked about community. It's really nice to be involved in the community.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are, one of the things that Puroclean is, believe it or not, we do a lot of things quietly behind the scenes. We don't necessarily want to publicize it or so on and so forth.
Well, that says you're doing it for the right reason, right? If you're doing something for publicity, probably not the best intention.
Correct.
And, I was raised and believe today that if you do the right thing, it will get recognized. But if you're looking for recognition,
correct,
you're probably not doing it the right way.
Correct.
And, my parents, they led by example.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember my dad bringing us to various community events as kids.
Right.
And at the time, you're 12 or 13, all you want to do is,
ride your bike, play with your friends.
Right.
Why am I going to this?
It used to be a burden.
Yes.
In my eyes, right?
Yes.
But now I do the same with my son. He knows every September is Bike for Cancer Month. And he now raises money.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've helped, obviously, but, he's been the top fundraiser.
Oh, that's awesome. And he's cute. He's cute, which doesn't hurt. Come on now.
But it's all of the, why do I want him to be the top fundraiser? Because I want him to understand that your goal is not how far you ride a bike.
Right.
It's how many families
you were able to help.
And that's what we put in his goal every year.
Right.
We start at 10 families, $5,000.
Right.
And then when we get above that, it becomes 6 families, 7 families. And I'm constantly saying to him, you helped 8 families this year.
Yep.
Or, and it's we, but I want him to take ownership of it because now Dad's looking to take a step back from the fundraising and have him take over. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's important to teach your kids these
Yeah,
things.
I'm looking at the clock and time flies when
Yes, it does, when we're having fun.
Rolling along. So, Mo, wanted to thank you for coming in. I know it was short notice.
Absolute pleasure.
when Tony asked me to pitch in, he failed to tell me that I needed to get guests and this and that. I'm like, Tony, it's like Sunday. I'm like, what are you talking about? So thank you, Mo.
Pleasure.
Larry, I think we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's go to break, and then we'll come back with Christine.
That sounds great.
Okay, great.
Mo, thanks
Mo.
again.
My pleasure.
All right, take care.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Central Hudson reminds you that summer thunderstorms can strike with strong, gusty winds, knocking down trees and power lines. If you see a downed power line, call 911 immediately to report it. Power lines can carry an electric current strong enough to cause injury or death. Stay at least 30 feet away from a fallen line. Don't try to move it or anything that has come in contact with it. And never drive over a power line. Remember, your safety matters.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Good morning and welcome back. This is Dan Gruner. I want to thank Fran DePetrillo for joining me this morning as we fill in for the legendary Tony Marmo and Val Dwyer. Fran had to exit to get to work, but appreciate her. As of 2 days ago, I was doing this by myself for 2 hours, which was a little bit.
Well, I would have been here to help you, but
yes,
to have an extra co-host and a couple guests always makes the morning go a little easier. So.
Yeah, so we're in the home stretch here, and I want to welcome Christine Hein.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great, thanks, and thanks for coming in. I know we reached out to you kind of last minute, but this is your natural environment, so I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen you.
I know. I don't think I've seen you, I think, pre-COVID, right?
Unfortunately, that seems to be the common
It's like a year and a half, right? I mean, it's...
that's but my office is not far from People's Place across the street, and I can certainly see how busy you've been.
Yeah, we've been extremely busy. So, we keep doing I am so proud of the volunteers and the very tiny, small staff that we have. We never closed. We stayed open. I mean, we were closed for holidays and little things here and there. We did close when we had everything deep cleaned, and a few times we had Puroclean come in and Pest Master came in and cleaned and sprayed everything when at the height of the pandemic. But other than that, we stayed open through the entire thing and slammed as far as the food pantry went, especially last year this time. But it's through every storm has a silver lining, right?
Yeah.
And through COVID, we learned a lot about people, and I've always known our area was extremely generous and kind and welcoming, and I know that every place has little issues here and there, but I think that we live in an incredible community where people came out and really tried to help each other. One of the things that happened was Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative was born and kind of rose through COVID, and we've partnered with them, and People's Place has been able to do home deliveries for homebound individuals through the help of Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative. They coordinate all the drivers. And then we've gotten it down to once a week. It was 5 days a week. And now it's once a week. We pack groceries for people that can't make it to the food pantry because they either, for a while was had to stay isolated, because of COVID. Or they have no cars. And the thing that's come from this is, we always sort of knew there were some people who were homebound, and how do you get food to them? How do you get groceries to them? And so this is something wonderful that has come out of the pandemic. We have this new system in place, which I think is great for folks. And if people are out there listening and you can utilize this service, you can give us a call at People's Place, 338-4030, and we will give you the number and connect you on how to get on the delivery line.
Yeah, and I can say, People's Place is dear to my heart. My mother was a longtime volunteer, and I volunteered there as a kid, under her guidance. So I still remember early on, as I mentioned, our office across the street, and I was still going to the office every day. And there was one day you hosted something, and the line was down the street.
That was was it down the street, around the corner,
Yes.
and all the way to Clinton Avenue?
Yeah.
That was when we gave out, we had a free pop-up meat market.
Yes.
And we gave out, oh my heavens, I think it was 60,000 pounds
Yes.
of protein, meat
and
items.
it was interesting. That stuck in my mind. And then, one of our employees had said around, before Thanksgiving, that a fairly new employee to us wanted to give back to a local organization. I just, let me know what you're thinking. And I think maybe it was, I don't know for certain, but maybe the first time she had done something like this.
Uh-huh.
And so she chose People's Place. And I asked her, before I gave her a check, I said, why did you choose People's Place? And she said, because they help people right here.
Right. We are a local, not-for-profit.
Yeah. And so I gave her a check, and I think it was more than what she was expecting. And
Thank you so much. We're extremely grateful for that.
And she said, well, geez, I said, it's one of the organizations that's dear to my heart because it taught me as a kid. Unfortunately, we don't all have the same opportunities and things. And, I commend that, leadership is what drives an organization, right? Along with many other components, but I know you're humble, and that's why I said that. But your leadership the last 15, 16 months has been very evident to the community. Yeah. And everything that you've accomplished. And, I will drive by and, Thursday nights there's a group that meets at Keegan Ales after work, and I'll see some of the volunteers that it just brings a smile to my face because they're my parents' friends.
Yeah.
That have been there since I was a kid. The Netters and
Oh my
the
heavens.
Matthews. And,
Yes.
you know.
Judy and Mary and Marie
it's-
Gardner. I mean,
Yeah.
so many of these volunteers are phenomenal, and that's why I always say that we're really a volunteer-driven. The volunteers are the life force.
So
of
my
our
brother
organization.
volunteered for you guys one day.
He was tired when he got done, wasn't he?
Well, we grew up with the Netters, right? My brother AJ and Paul Netter, you know, great friends. Mary Jane was my.
Paul's a huge supporter of what we do too, and he
Of
doesn't
course
even
he
live
does.
in our community
And
anymore.
nobody would even know it. And he's
Doesn't
a huge
forget his roots.
He's a huge supporter of our bike ride too. And so AJ called me, he's laughing. He said, "Oh, you'll enjoy this." We grew up in the same neighborhood, so we spent a ton of time at the Netter house. The Netters had 8 kids growing up, and Mary ran a tight ship.
She still does.
Yeah, yes. So he
She's
says to me,
phenomenal.
he goes,
She's
"It was
phenomenal.
at People's Place volunteering yesterday." He says, "Man, there's a lot going on there." I said, "Oh, really? Who was there?" He says, "Well, there was this person, this person." He goes, "But Mary Netter was in charge."
She is. She's a force, and I'm so grateful to have her.
Oh,
And,
wonderful.
You know, my first day of work there, I've been there 9 years already, and I walked in, and it was Bernice Fitzgerald, Marie Gardner, and Mary Netter, and they've been there for a long time, and still active. Still,
Yep.
like I'm talking Marie and Bernice, over 25 years.
Yep.
And they're like, "Okay, hi, how are you? Here's the keys. Goodbye. Don't wear flip-flops." I'm like, "What do you mean? You can't leave me." No, you have to stay.
Yeah.
So I quickly learned the art of begging.
Well,
They've been phenomenal, and it's great to have, I'm a true believer that it's great to have people who have been there with you for a long time, and it's also wonderful to have new blood.
Absolutely.
And it's important for both to work together, to learn, to know why certain things were done a certain way, and then also have new eyes to see, oh, I can see how that is. Maybe also we could do this or the next thing. And I think that's what's great about People's Place is that we're always looking at what we can do to help the community, and what is there that are we still doing things that are needed, and are there other things? And that is the other thing that I think COVID really shone a light on for everyone in the community, not just folks who use a service such as ours. And part of that is the mental health of individuals. And I don't mean mental health that people need professional help. And there's a lot of that too. And personally, I think everyone should get a little mental health once in a while. And but what we saw were just simple things. There's a need for simple skills to help individuals just in their overall wellness. And so out of that is born the Wellness Empowerment Center, and that will be opening on Monday. We're having our ribbon cutting Monday at 4:30. Anyone's welcome. It is in what used to be a gym a long time ago above where our community cafe is. So it faces Broadway.
Sure. Yeah, where the old boxing club was.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it'll be upstairs, and it's called a Wellness Empowerment Center. I'm extremely grateful to the mayor of Kingston and the Common Council, because I applied for a community development block grant as a seed grant to start this program and to kind of give us a little boost to get things we need for it, and some operational costs for it. And they approved our grant. So therefore, we were able to go through with it. And if you indulge me for a moment, I'd like to just explain what it's going to be.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. So the overall purpose statement for the Community Empowerment Center is striving to enhance the quality of an individual's life and help them build a stronger, healthier future through wellness classes, health screenings, nutritional guidance, alternative health modalities, and financial education. So I really feel that the key word in this center is the word empowerment, because what we are going to try to do is offer workshops to individuals. It's open to anyone in the community with a special emphasis on low to moderate income households, the folks who come and use People's Place for other services that we offer. But if you don't use People's Place, you're unfamiliar, this is a good stepping stone to find out about the different programming that we offer. We have 23 different programs that we offer, ranging from food to clothing to life essentials, and now to wellness component of it. So we kind of made it fun and made different days. So Mondays are going to be Mindful Mondays, and Tuesdays are Tasty Tuesday. Wednesday's Wellness Wednesday. Thursday is Thriving Thursday, and Friday is Fiscal Friday. And so we'll be offering different classes every week, and you'll be able to go online. I worked with our webmaster yesterday. Mike Rice is phenomenal, and he really has taken People's Place under his wing. We're very fortunate for his guidance and support with our website, and he's adding a new page that will highlight all of the different folks in the community who are donating their time to offer these classes. So for example, on Mindful Mondays, we are partnering with, just to name a few people, the Yoga House, and she's going to be offering yoga classes in the morning. And on Wednesdays, we have some different health individuals throughout the community. Julie Colati from Bias by Colati, I believe John Perry from Signature Fitness, Mary Tuma I met with yesterday, to offer physical fitness type classes. But everything is all at a beginner's level. No way should be intimidated on coming and learning about different skills that you can take, learn and then take back with you. Tuesdays will be Tasty Tuesdays, so we're working with a few different nutritionalists. And to kick it off next week, for Tasty Tuesday, we will be bringing back our Chef Challenge. And so that will be in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a little hiatus last year.
Yep.
But new and improved Chef Challenge. We work with the Culinary Institute of America, Bobby Perillo over there. He's phenomenal. And we have the free farm stand every Tuesday morning. So anyone from the community that needs produce can come and pick up what we have. So the Chef Challenge is much like the TV show Chopped, where the chefs are coming in and they'll see what we have and make salads and whatever it's going to be, different dishes. And so what we try to do is throw in a few what would be considered food bank staples, things, or food pantry staples, things you always can get at a food pantry: pasta, peanut butter, salt, pepper, tuna fish, maybe chicken, something like that. And so they use those for the bases, and then they pick what we have off of the farm stand and make different dishes. And it's so amazing to see the different chefs make different dishes. Graziano's going to be there from Downtown Cafe. He's been doing it. And Brandy from The Anchor, Brandy Waters, so she's going to be there. And then a new twist that we're offering this year, too, is we're going to have some students from the culinary make smoothies and also mocktails.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. So it's always something. And then, of course, it happens to fall on the second Tuesday of the month, which means that we're going to be doing free haircuts also at the other end of the parking lot. And Janice Avery from Mirror Mirror spearheads that for us each month. So folks can come and get a haircut if they need it.
Yep.
It's in everything we offer at People's Place is free of charge. The only time there's a charge for anything is just if you shop in the thrift store, and some things are free, and then other things, the thrift store's open to the public, and it really is our main economic engine. So if you're out there and you love shopping thrift stores, or even if you don't know about thrift stores, stop and see us, because when you purchase anything from us, you're helping support all of the programming that we do.
And I have some things for you that I'm just realizing now are sitting in a bag right by my front.
Yeah, you went out. Well, you're close by. You can drop them off.
I know, and I will.
Them
I did some cleaning. I have some, lightly used cleats and baseball gloves and things that hopefully you could use.
Yeah.
I just listening to your new program. A lot of great things in there. What struck me is, you've taken the initiative to address kind of the whole person, right?
Yes. We
Fiscal
feel like
Fridays.
this is completing the circle of what we hand out. And this wasn't a willy-nilly decision. We actually did surveys with the folks who come and use our services. So last year, during the late summer, early fall, we started surveying folks. Like, if we offer something like this, do you think it's something you would want to participate in? And overwhelmingly, almost 100% of the people said it was something they were interested in.
Well, I think, what struck me amongst all those things is, we just call it what it is. There's a lot of negativity in the world right now.
Yeah.
You're doing the complete opposite of...
You have to make a decision every day.
You
on how
surveyed
you look at the
people
world.
to find out what they need. That's step one. Yeah. Now you did something about it,
right.
And you're bringing compassion to that. I hope anyone that's listening would gather that same message that, this is what we need.
Right. And
it's not, who's right and who's wrong, and what's good and what's bad, and we all have to come together. And I will never forget a line my Uncle Paul told me. I called him years ago to ask him help me get a sponsor for the Bike for Cancer Care, and he says, boy, people are going to start crossing the street when they see you. And I said to him, I'd cross with them. I'd cross and I'd continue to ask, because I believe in what we do.
I joke in my family that people run and hide from me when they see me coming.
But I think when you believe in what you do, and and Mo Gibbons and I were just talking about this, when you do something for notoriety, you're not doing it for the right reason. Correct. When you do the right thing to help people, you'll probably get some notoriety. And it's just so refreshing. I haven't seen you in a long time, and I watch from afar what you do, and you're never stopping.
Yeah. Well, things you just have to look at the world with your eyes wide open. And do we have issues?
I hope everybody just heard that.
Yeah. Well, and everybody has to get along. And I think the one thing that maybe the pandemic also did was people who thought that they were okay found out really fast that they weren't okay. And we saw last year over 1,200 new families that never used our services before come to us for help. Because they were working, and they're working people, and they lost their jobs. And, statistically across the country, people don't have 2 months worth of savings to be able to live off of. And that's the key with People's Place. If you surveyed and spoke to the people who came to us, the overwhelming majority of folks have at least one job, if not two.
And I'd like
to hard to survive.
Before we run out of time, something we opened the show with, I read it last night, and it's on the cover of the Freeman today, that our county executive, Pat Ryan, who preceded your husband, is formally and publicly now calling out Westchester Medical Center for their removal of the mental health beds here in Kingston at Health Alliance. This is not about politics. This is about what our community needs.
Correct.
I said earlier, I'll say it again, I commend Pat for his stance. And I don't want to put you on the spot, and if you don't want to comment, that's okay too. But, I know you see things every day. Mm-hmm. At the ground floor level, mm-hmm. in our community. Westchester Medical has absolutely zero ties to this community. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's a complete disregard for what our community needs.
I will choose not to go down that path right now with why we have Westchester Medical Center.
No, and I'm not looking for that.
People needed to go into their eyes wide open, and maybe that. I'm
asking more for the
I want to
need.
make sure of, and be very clear, is the Wellness Empowerment Center is not in any way a replacement for professional medical help. This is about people's health and kind of what kind of things they can learn on their own to help them lead a little bit healthier. We all need a little check-in.
Sure.
Like I maybe should go to the meditation classes because I can't sit still for 3 minutes, and I'm like, I can't do that. But but we'll be offering things like that. But also, our own Dan Gatos from here is going to be teaching a sound therapy class, which is going to be really awesome. And we just have community folks from all over the place. Keith Bennett is going to be doing a movement and meditation class, which is really wonderful. If you're out there listening and you have some special skill that you would like to let us know, to start out for the first part, through this year, the Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union is going to be doing financial education classes on Fridays. So we really are looking, we're in contact with Oracle to be doing Narcan training. We're reaching out to medical professionals to offer blood pressure screenings and glucose screenings, different things that folks can kind of just have us as a check-in and a springboard. Journal writing. How do you journal? I don't know. You know how many journals I have sitting in my house? They're all empty. They're really pretty because I'm out and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then I never do. But I can't be an anomaly. There has to be a lot of people out there like me that you don't know where to start. So we're hoping that that's what this will do. And it will also offer an experience because it's not just go to the class, do meditation for 15 minutes and leave. You'll get to talk to the instructor. We're going to have a snack shack within it. So after the class, we're going to offer, whether it be smoothies or granola bars or tea or something like that, and a little giveaway and instructions on what we're talked about that day at the workshop. So it is open again to the public, so anybody that wants to come can. They can call our number, 338-4030, to make an appointment, a time slot, because we're going to limit it to only 10 people at a time. Or they can go on our website starting this weekend at peoplesplace.org. And we'll have a page dedicated to the Wellness Empowerment Center. And also on that page, we'll have the individuals who are donating their time, what their credentials are also, so that the class that you're in, the workshop or seminar or whatever they're going to be, is being led by individuals who know what they're doing. Julie Colati from Bias by Colati has a degree in physiology, I think in sports medicine, and I mean these are educated individuals who are offering their services to the community at no charge at all. And of course, if you're listening and you don't feel you need any assistance from us, you can always donate to us.
You just stole
that is the best way to assist us if you don't need to come for us for the services we're offering. Because we are, as you said at the beginning of this half hour, we are a local not-for-profit. We are not connected to any government agency. And we are not connected to any national agency. We are independent Kingston not-for-profit, born in Kingston in 1972 and have remained in Kingston and now serving all of Ulster County. So anyone who lives in Ulster County can come and use our services. And we're located at 17 St. James Street, corner of Broadway and St. James Street.
You've opened a cafe, now the wellness, and, there's a reason that the organization has evolved. It's doing great things for our community. And we all understand that. And, I remember years ago you made a comment to me that, why a financial donation, other than what you just said and everything you just said, but you have the ability to stretch a dollar a little further, correct?
Correct.
Could you talk? I know we're tight on time, but that was something that struck at me because I my immediate thought was make a tray of food and bring it to People's Place.
Right. Well, unfortunately with that, we really can't take that because we need to have all the ingredients, and it needs to be made, in order for us to hand it out, it has to be made in a Board of Health approved kitchen, things like that. We really do have very strict guidelines. We are a member of the food bank, the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, and they have very specific guidelines. They do site visits. Our freezers have to be at 0. Our refrigeration has to be at a particular temperature. So we have very specific guidelines of what we, the quality of the food is of utmost importance to us. But we can buy food through the food bank, which we can get for less expensive most times than getting it at other places. We also have relationships that we've built with Adams and ShopRite and Hannaford and all these now that we can get food from them also oftentimes at a discount. Items or services, we have a leak. As you know, I came running in here because our roof is leaking, and now we have to do all these different things.
Ours is too.
Yeah, it's bad. But we have
everything's leaking after
relationships with contractors, and they're so gracious and always cut us a break. So when people donate to us, we really try to be extremely thrifty and wise in the way that we spend our dollars.
Yeah. Well, I know, as you mentioned, you've got some issues to attend to.
I do.
And thank you for coming in. I know it was last minute. We kind of threw this whole show together. So
and it went great, by the way, so good job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for doing it. I say it all the time. Thank you to anyone who listens or participates or is a host at KCR, because we really are truly, Kingston Community Radio. It's in the name. It's the way you find out about things that are happening in your own backyard. So you have to support that. Otherwise, we won't have that.
Very good point.
Absolutely.
And on that note, thank you, Dan Gruner. Thank you, Christine Hein. We will be back tomorrow with Mario Catalano and Hugh Reynolds. Have a good day, everyone.